is the issue of electricity. I deliberately left this for the last. As we know, the JPS service license expires, and the license request requires that the government indicates its intention by July 2025. To call the government's position was upon expiration of the current All Island license not to renew under existing terms. It's important to point out and remind Jamaica that failure for the government to have responded would have given the JPS an automatic 10-year extension to the existing license of 10 years. So understand what that means in English. If the government did not respond with a position by July 2025, automatically a 10-year extension. So you'd be talking about a license that was given in 2001, renewed in 2016, which expired in 2027, to go from 2027 to 2037 under the same existing conditions. I am not going back. Today is Melissa Day. September 3rd gone. So we're not going to talk about how we got there. We're going to talk about how we're going to fix it. So understand now that Melissa hit. And when Melissa hit, there's a need for restoration. The restoration requires money. The Emergency Disaster Fund, which is what you would call the self-insurance for the distribution and transmission line of the JPS, which is not insured because it's uninsurable, is what we have used for Beryl and for Melissa and for all the other events that we have had in recent years. So, as of right now, that fund, based on the claims that have been made already, to prepare for Melissa, has been exhausted. So it means that the JPS has 2 years on a license, and they have to raise money to restore. Several iterations, several proposals. One, JPS wants a 15-year extension. And they get 15-year extension, they will do what they need to do to find the money. Other one is that multilaterals are prepared to give them money, but they want at least 8 to 10 years extension. Where does that put us? That put us in two situations. One, a commitment that was made by this minister and this government in June of this year that any new license would be on new terms. A commitment that was made, a commitment that will stand, and no Melissa, no Trelissa, no Belinda is going to change that. So the government is now in a position now, what do we do? Because we need restoration. JPS is saying that the earliest restoration time that they can give us for the worst affected areas is April to May 2026. Can you imagine when you tell a minister that? And on top of which, they want an extended license. That is going to mean that we are in the same situation. Well, Madam Speaker, my colleagues here, many hours, many discussions. Cabinet, not once. Cabinet, not twice. Cabinet 3 times, including yesterday morning. And the decision, thanks to the help and the input of the Ministry of Finance, specifically Minister Williams, and the Financial Secretary, and of course, the new Minister of Efficiency, we were able to work out yesterday and get approved by Cabinet an agreement to fast-track the restoration to end of January, latest early February. Don't clap yet. Don't clap yet.
If they don't clap, they don't get it.
On the basis that the government of Jamaica is not prepared to negotiate any extension of any license other than the process that is going to take us from now until 2027 when this existing license expires. But based on the fact that we need restoration as a country in the shortest possible time, the government of Jamaica has agreed to loan the JPS $150 million United States dollars on the basis that they will use that money, which is estimated at $75 million a month, to restore the entire grid, save and except for any special area that may not be reachable, but the major areas by the end of January, latest early February. What are the terms to make sure that the government and the taxpayers are fully protected? 5 years with an interest rate to be negotiated by the Ministry of Finance, which I'm sure will be a reasonable interest rate, because the higher the interest rate is the more it's going to pass on to the consumer. And we are cognizant of that. However, they can pay as early as 2 years. Why? Because 2 years the license expires. They'll either have a renewed license or they won't have a license. If they have a license, they can attract financing. And if they don't have a license, the government has already indicated to them, based on our July 2025 letter, that we are prepared to acquire the assets of the Jamaica Public Service, which means that our money is protected fully. So there is no risk to the Jamaican government or the taxpayers. What we have done is skillfully separated a negotiation of a loan and untied from all of these proposals of extensions. I want to point out to you very carefully, any negotiation that involved the license or amendment of license would retard the period of time when we need to get the money. We need to get the money to them or give them a commitment by tomorrow morning after we announce this today, because the cabinet decision is out. And they have committed that they will have 300 linesmen. They now have 170, all in white truck. And big thick man, you see. That's 170. But those 170 are trying to get back the biggest areas of production for the government, Montego Bay. So all the other areas in my friends and colleagues' hard-hit parishes are not getting the attention that they would get. And it's not because of anything other than what has to happen in order to get the country up and running. Can you imagine, members, in 2 weeks' time, 300 more linesmen with equipment, same trucks you see and same everything you see, having 500 linesmen additional to what JPS has as their normal crew, spread across Jamaica. The commitment that I'm making to you here, that JPS has committed to me, that they can have those trucks and men here by the second week of December, and that by Christmas morning, Grand Market night, they are committing, especially in the hardest hit areas, to bring back light at the most strategic locations where those that are still affected can come down into and do all that they need to do, even if it is that they don't have light 5 miles up in the hill. Madam Speaker, I am here to say that it is the best win-win situation that a government could negotiate. Because if we are to wait until April or May, which could be in June, depending on what happens, then I don't know what would happen. I can't say what would happen because it wouldn't be pretty. But most importantly, Madam Speaker, is that originally the estimates for the damage, early assessments, as JPS had said, was between $480 and $600 million. As the assessments have continued in more detail, we are down to $350 million, which is a huge difference between the original estimate and what the estimate is. So the question that's going to come is, what happens with the balance of money that's going to be needed? We were not prepared to go into that discussion. They have to come back to us because they have put a hold on dividends from July indefinitely until this matter of normalcy is resolved. So we are not going into it and giving money. Just we are making sure that we have our protection mechanisms to make sure we will have oversight in terms of technical people to evaluate those numbers, to put a program in place of the restoration, monitor it, to make sure that what has been given to us as a plan is carried out. So I say to you, Madam Speaker, as of today, November 25th, approximately 75%, 687,339 households and businesses have been reconnected to the JPS grid in less than 4 weeks. Less than 4 weeks. As I said before, they had indicated to me full restoration will not be possible until end of May 2026. And this was mainly due to the inability to raise funds with the 2 years left. Madam Speaker, I want to say to you, before I close, that you know my stance with the JPS when Beryl came. And you know that it didn't end, or it ended well, but it didn't start well. I have seen a complete change, despite the fact there are still gaps. There's no two ways about it. There's areas that are not affected, that still can't get back light, not realizing that the transmission line is coming all the way from the west to the east. They have given me a commitment, Madam Speaker, because you know that I'm someone. So, path 1, which was a JPS's path, was 505 line workers, timeline April, May 2026. I need 5 minutes.
30 minutes more.
No.
Minister, you may conclude.
Conclude, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I really appreciate it. Part 2 is 470 line workers with an estimation of January to February 2026. Madam Speaker, for St. Mary, the commitment is to bring back all areas long before Christmas. They say Christmas. They say if they get the equipment here, they will move. They said, Madam Speaker, for Portland, same. For Clarendon, 95%. Remaining 5 will be due to access. This is before Christmas, you know. This is not January, February. Madam Speaker, that's Manchester. St. Anne has some major problems, Madam Speaker. They are saying 80% before Christmas. They have some major issues with the substation at Cardiff Hall. I want to get the Western region, Madam Speaker, and I'll close on this one for you. I'm sure member from Westmoreland here, formerly from Hanover, will be interested in this. Westmoreland, St. James, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, and Hanover Currently, as you know, there are several areas that have received light. St. James, Freeport, Hip Strip, Montego Bay Town, Fairway, Witter Village, Shops of Rosal, Spring Garden, Fairfield, Shore and Coral Gardens. I understand that they are going to be going up into the hills where the tourism workers operate because of tourism coming back on track on December 15th. The other areas, Madam Speaker, is St. Elizabeth, Black River Hospital and Treasure Beach, Hanover Sandy Bay Health Center, Sandy Bay Town, Westmoreland, West End Negril, Savlamar Hospital and Savlamar Town. And last but not least, Madam Speaker, as I said before, 175,000 customers remain to be restored. And we are going to bring that number forward to January, February latest, but we're going to do a push to see what we can do. So for those MPs that are in those areas, if you could furnish me with your areas that you believe would be the most critical areas for Christmas, at least at ease for Christmas. No, it can't be all. I'm sure you'll be understanding of the situation. It won't be all. All won't be till the end of January. Then I think we can work together to make sure with JPS that we use information coming from you and see how we can coordinate. Madam Speaker, I will not detain the House anymore. I thank you for your leniency and to say to you and to say to the people of Jamaica that we have made sure that we have not allowed adversity such as Melissa to take us off track with the negotiation of a new license in 2027 with whoever that is. And we have been able to find a way to bring forward restoration without putting the government or the taxpayers of this country at any exposure in relation to any possibility of not being repaid in some way, shape, or form, including JPS shares, if it comes to that. Which, as I said before, 2 years we have a decision. Either there'll be a successful negotiation with the current operator, or the government will have to act and find somebody to come in. And whichever way it goes, the $150 million will be protected, whichever way it goes. I thank you for your time, and I say to you, I know the suffering is hard, but this is a huge, 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 huge move in terms of bringing forward so we can get back to normalcy as quickly as possible. God bless you. God bless Jamaica.